Assalamu alaikum. This is Pratyusha Burwa welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Changing people's fate, main goal of BNP's politics, says Prime Minister Tariq Rahman inaugurating canal excavation program. Government's main goal to implement projects with transparency, says Finance Minister. More independent media to make government more responsible, says Information and Broadcasting Minister. Holy Shab-e-Qadr today invite Muslims to pass the night seeking Allah's blessings. Israel begins wide-scale wave of strikes in Iran and Lebanon while Iran continues to attack U.S. assets in Gulf. And Bangladesh clinched 3-match series by 2-1 against Pakistan. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman inaugurated the nationwide program to excavate and re-excavate rivers, canals and water bodies aimed at improving irrigation, boosting agricultural production and strengthening water management. The Premier opened the excavation of 53 canals across the country by initiating the excavation of the 12-kilometer Shahapara Canal in the Balurampur area in Kaharul Upazila of the Dinajpur district. He formally launched the initiative by cutting soil with a spade. Later, he planted a sapling of a tree on the bank of the Shahapara Canal. LGRD Minister Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, Social Welfare Minister Dr. A.Z.M. Zohid Hussain, Water Resources Minister Shohiddin Chaudhry Ani, and Disaster Management and Relief Minister Asadul Habib Dulu and State Minister for Water Resources Farhad Hussain Azad were present among others at the event. The BNP-led government has undertaken the program in line with its election manifesto to excavate and re-excavate about 20,000 kilometers of rivers, canals, water bodies and reservoirs across the country over the next 5 years. The Prime Minister took the program following the footsteps of his father, Raater President Ziaur Rahman, who had introduced a nationwide canal excavation initiative during his tenure. The program played a significant role in boosting rural economy, agricultural production, and irrigation facilities, and the current initiative is seen as a continuation of that effort. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said the work of building the country began through the canal excavation program. He said this while addressing a public rally on the bank of Shahapara Canal after inaugurating the nationwide program to excavate and re-excavate rivers, canals and water bodies today. Mentioning the present government as farmer-friendly, the Prime Minister said the government is working to establish agriculture on a strong foundation in the country. Highlighting various government initiatives involving the country's common people, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said his party's political vision is to change the people's fortune. The Premier said, "This is our political goal. This is the politics of Raater President Ziaur Rahman. This is the politics of Khaleda Zia, and this is the politics of the BNP government." Reflecting on the present government's development plans and steps to improve the living standard of the country's people, he urged the countrymen to remain vigilant against attempts to create division or unrest in the country. Emphasizing the use of surface water, the Prime Minister said that, according to the plan, the upper water must be properly utilized through the excavation of rivers and canals.
এই খালটা ইনশাআল্লাহ আমরা সম্পূর্ণভাবে যখন কাজ শেষ করতে পারবো তখন কিন্তু প্রায় ৩১,০০০ কৃষক এখান থেকে পানি পাবে। এই খালের সুবিধা পাবে এবং প্রায় 1200 হেক্টর জমি এই খালে যে পানি থাকবে সেই পানির সেচ সুবিধার মধ্যে আসবে। 3.5 লক্ষ মানুষ এই খালের পানির সুবিধা পাবে। এই খালের পানি বিভিন্নভাবে তারা ব্যবহার করতে পারবে এবং শুধু তাই নয়, সবচেয়ে বড় যে বিষয়টি হচ্ছে এই এলাকার কৃষক ভাইরা তারা যে ফসল উৎপাদন করবে, এখন যেই ফসল উৎপাদন হচ্ছে তার থেকে প্রায় 60,000 মেট্রিক টন বেশি ইনশাল্লাহ ফসল উৎপাদিত হবে। এই কাজগুলো করলে মানুষের ভাগ্যের পরিবর্তন হবে। এটাই হচ্ছে বিএনপির রাজনীতি, মানুষের ভাগ্যের পরিবর্তন করে। আজকে যে মাসে 5,000 টাকা কামাই করে, আমরা চাই তার আয় রুজিটা আগামী 2-4 বছরের মধ্যে যাতে 5 থেকে ইনশাল্লাহ 10,000 টাকায় পৌঁছে। আজকে যে 2,000 টাকা ইনকাম করে, আমরা চাই এমন পলিসি নিতে, আমরা চাই এমন পদক্ষেপ নিতে যার মাধ্যমে তার ইনকামটা ডবল হবে। যদি 2,000 হয় 4-5,000 আগামী কয়েক মাসের বা 2-4 বছরের মধ্যে যাতে তার ইনকামটা ডবল হয়। এটাই হচ্ছে আমাদের রাজনীতির লক্ষ্য, এটাই হচ্ছে শহীদ জিয়ার রাজনীতি, এটাই হচ্ছে খালেদা জিয়ার রাজনীতি এবং এটাই হচ্ছে আপনাদের নির্বাচিত বিএনপি সরকারের রাজনীতি। আজকে শুরু হোক এই খাল খনন কর্মসূচি আমরা উদ্বোধন করেছি। এই খাল খনন কর্মসূচির মাধ্যমে আজকে দেশ গড়ার কর্মসূচির কাজ আমরা শুরু করলাম ইনশাআল্লাহ।
LGRD and Cooperatives Minister Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, Social Welfare Minister AZM Zahid Hussain, Water Resources Minister Shohid Uddin Chaudhry Ani, Disaster Management and Relief Minister Asadul Habib Tulu, State Minister for Water Resources Farhad Hussain Azad, Whip Akhtar Zaman Mia and local members of the Parliament, among others, addressed the occasion. Finance and Planning Minister Amir Khusro Mahmood Chaudhry said, "The biggest goal of the government is to implement projects with transparency, keeping corruption out. The government is looking after the interest of the backward communities first." He said this at the inauguration ceremony of the Bamun Shundar Canal excavation program in Mirashoro Peninsula of Chattogram today. The minister said the government is continuing to work amid the war in the Middle East and the energy crisis. The government is committed to fulfilling the expectations of the people of the country. Deputy Commissioner Mohammad Zahidul Islam Mia presided over the program organized at the local Malaysia High School ground. State Minister for Land and Hill Tracts Affairs Barrister Mir Muhammad Hilal Uddin, Chattogram Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin, local MP Nurul Amin and Superintendent of Police Muhammad Nazir Ahmed Khan, among others, addressed the occasion. Earlier, Finance Minister Amir Khusro Mahmood Chaudhry inaugurated the Bamun Shundar Canal excavation program. The excavation program for Shamut Ali Canal started in North Katuli of the outskirts of Chattogram city. City Mayor Dr. Shahadat Hussain inaugurated the excavation work at noon. At the inauguration ceremony, the mayor said that the city corporation is working to restore the navigability of the city's main canals before the monsoon. Local political leaders and senior officials of the city corporation were present on the occasion. Information and Broadcasting Minister Zohir Uddin Shopun said, "The more independent the media is, the more responsible the government will be." He said this while addressing a gathering as the chief guest to inaugurate the self-reliant canal excavation program in Kutubur under Gorunodi Peninsula of Borishal today. The minister said the canal excavation project cannot be anyone's source of income. No syndicate should be allowed to be formed on it. He said the government has already fulfilled 5 of the pledges made to the people before the completion of a month of its formation, which is the difference between the government and the previous government. The Information and Broadcasting Minister hoped that through this canal re-excavation program, the country's dependence on imports can be reduced and the amount of cultivable land can be increased. Lailatul Qadr, the holy night today. The night of Qadr has begun after the evening. The night will be observed with proper religious dignity and solemnity throughout the country. The Almighty Allah has given the night of Laylatul Qadr a unique honor. Prayers on this night is superior to the worship of 1,000 months. On this night, Allah's endless mercy and blessings are showered and the destiny of humanity is determined. On that night, the angels and the Spirit descend by the permission of Allah. Hoping to attain the blessing of the Almighty Allah, devout Muslims spend the holy night in worship and devotion. They seek the boundless mercy, salvation, blessings, and forgiveness of the Almighty Allah. All-night religious gatherings, sermons, and concluding prayers have been organized at the National Mosque Baitul Muqaddas and almost across the country on this occasion. Bangladesh television and private television channels, as well as Bangladesh Betar and private radio stations, are broadcasting special programs, while newspapers and online news portals publish special articles highlighting the importance of the day. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has expressed heartfelt greetings and congratulations to the people of the country and all Muslims around the world in a message on the occasion of the Holy Laylatul Qadr. In his message, the Prime Minister hoped that the glory of the Holy Laylatul Qadr will bring peace, harmony, and welfare into our lives. He said, "This night creates a unique opportunity to attain closeness to Almighty Allah through worship, repentance, and supplication." He said that the teachings of the Holy Laylatul Qadr inspire us to establish peace, justice, and welfare in our personal, social, and national life. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman donated 1,63,50,000 taka for the Conservation Department workers of Chattogram City Corporation. He handed over the donation check to the City Mayor Dr. Shahadat Hussain at the Prime Minister's office in the Secretariat yesterday. Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives Minister Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, State Minister Mir Shahi Alam and Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister ABM Abdul Sattar were present on the occasion. The donation amount given by the Prime Minister will be distributed among 3,270 conservation workers working in Chattogram City Corporation. Each of them will receive financial assistance of 5,000 taka on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. Now, international news. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said the UK will not be drawn into a wider war over Iran, and he is working with allies on a viable plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Starmer also announced a £53 million package to support people exposed to rising heating oil prices. Starmer's comments comes after Trump said it would be very bad for the future of NATO if allies don't help secure the Strait of Hormuz, a key waterway for global oil. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said it has begun a new wide-scale wave of strike in Iran and separately limited and targeted ground operations against Iran-backed Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Heavy bombing in Tehran by Israel and reports of launching missiles by Iran and Hezbollah at Israel have been reported as the Middle East war entered the 17th day. Israeli Minister of Culture and Sports Miki Zohar urged the country to prepare for possible escalation, saying the US-Israel war on Iran is very likely to continue for several more weeks. An Iranian official said more than 500 people have been killed in the US-Israeli attacks on Tehran province since the war began. Mohammad Ismail Tawakoli, head of the province's emergency medical services, said that about 5,700 people were also injured in the area at that time. In recent attack, at least 5 people have died and 7 others were injured after separate strikes by US and Israeli forces in Iran's Markazaki province. The first attack hit a residential area around the city of Arak, killing at least 4, while in a second strike on a residential building in Mahalat, 1 person was killed and 7 injured. The Iranian Red Crescent Society said The latest Israeli air raids on Tehran have damaged one of its clinics and 8 relief posts. The strikes come amid reports of several explosions in the city after Israel launched a new wave of attacks. Since the start of the war, multiple hospitals and health facilities across Iran have sustained damage. On the other hand, emergency services report 15 deaths in Israel while cluster bombs damaged parts of Tel Aviv. The Israeli military said it is expanding strikes against Iran with thousands of targets still to hit. Meanwhile, Iran continues to attack the Gulf infrastructure as the conflict rises in the region. Figures released by Saudi Arabia's defense ministry on Monday said Saudi Arabia has intercepted more than 60 drones since midnight. At least one person has been killed after a missile hit a civilian vehicle in Al Bayah of the Abu Dhabi in UAE. It remains unclear whether the missile was intercepted or struck its target. Blazes have been reported near Dubai International Airport and an industrial zone in Fujairah following drone attacks. Meanwhile, the Lebanese Health Ministry said the death toll has risen to 850 in Lebanon since the war began on February 28. UK Maritime Trade Operations source said the Strait of Hormuz remains under a critical threat even though no incidents have been reported in the past 3 days. It also said since the war began 3 weeks ago, at least 20 vessels have been attacked the Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz and Gulf of Oman. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump demanded that a group of about 7 countries support the U.S. in protecting the strategic waterway. However, in reply, the UK, Australia and Japan said Monday they have no plan to send naval and maritime vessels to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said the bloc member states will discuss steps that could be taken from the European side to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. Israeli forces killed 16 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank in one of the heaviest strikes in a single day in weeks as Israel continued to launch attacks on Lebanon and Iran. Medics and the Interior Ministry of the Hamas-run Gaza said an Israeli airstrike killed a senior police official and 8 other officers when it hit their vehicle near the entrance of Zawiya town in the central Gaza Strip. The Gaza Health Ministry said at least 14 other people, mostly bystanders, were wounded in the strike. Earlier on Sunday, Gaza health officials said an Israeli airstrike had killed 3 people, a man, his pregnant wife, and their son in the western area of Nuseirat in the central Gaza Strip. The Israeli military said it had carried out a strike in Gaza on Sunday in response to an incident a day earlier in which Hamas militants opened fire on Israeli troops. In Gaza, there have been regular outbreaks of violence since a ceasefire went into effect in October last following 2 years of a devastating war since October 7 of 2023. Now, sports news. Cricket. Opener Tanzit Hassan Tamim struck his maiden century as Bangladesh sealed a thrilling 11-run victory over Pakistan in the series deciding 3rd ODI at the Sher-e-Bangla National Cricket Stadium. With the win, Bangladesh clinched the 3-match series 2-1. The hosts won the first ODI by 8 wickets before Pakistan levelled the series with a 128-run victory in the second match via the DLS method. Tanzit smashed a 107 runs, hitting 6 fours and 7 sixes to propel Bangladesh to a formidable 290/5. The bowlers then defended the total successfully despite a valiant century from Pakistan's Salman Ali Agha, who hammered a composed 106 of 98 balls. His knock kept Pakistan in the contest until Taskin Ahmed removed him to finish with impressive figures of 4-59 in 10 overs. After Salman's dismissal, captain Shaheen Shah Afridi kept Pakistan's hopes alive, but leg spinner Rashad Hussain delivered a super final over, dismissing Shaheen for 37 and eventually helping bowl the visitors out for 279 in 50 overs. Mustafizur Rahman also played his part well, braving an injury to claim to 54.